Recently, I found a beautiful example of surrender in the most unexpected of places. I was watching this movie called The Martian with my family on a weekend, and I had an aha moment that what this guy, Mark Watney, who is an astronaut in the movie, what he's doing is actually surrender. So let me explain. In this movie, actor Matt Damon plays astronaut Mark Watney, and he is stranded all alone on hostile Mars because his crewmates left Mars when there was a fierce snowstorm, and his crewmates thought that Mark Watney is dead, so they left him. But he was actually alive, and then when he finds out that they have left and he's all alone on Mars, this is a very, very unfortunate situation for him. So, what he does is, I believe, surrender. Because what's the first rule of surrender? That you do not resist the present. So, he accepted his situation. He did not scream, he did not kick things around, he did not blame his crewmates or blame his luck. He accepted that this has happened and he is in the situation right now. And then the second rule of surrender is that surrender does not mean giving up. It does not mean not taking any action. And so when Mark Watney first accepted his situation and did not resist it, then his next step was that I'm not going to give up, even though his chances of survival were super low, surviving all alone on Mars with limited supplies. He pretty much had next to zero chances of survival, so he could have easily just given up and said, you know what, I'm just going to die here, so why even bother trying anything? But he did not give up. From that place of acceptance and calm, he used his brain to figure out how he's going to first communicate with the ground crew on Earth that he is still alive. And then again, he knew that even if he was able to communicate to them that he's alive, it would take them a minimum of, I think, 4 years for Earth to send a spacecraft to rescue him. So how would he stay alive for those 4 years? Because he had minimum food and other supplies. So his chances were very low, but he thought, okay, I'm just going to take action. I'm going to use my brain. And he did the math to figure out how to grow potatoes on Mars. And he did that. And I would highly recommend watching this movie. It's a beautiful story of surrender and survival. And I love finding these examples and stories of surrender in movies or real life anywhere. So if there's a movie that you have seen that you think shows an example of surrender, please let me know. Write it down in the comments. And to add to that story from the movie The Martian, I'm just going to read a passage from The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle that kind of explains exactly what Mark Watney did in that movie. And it just talks about surrender in a very helpful way that relates directly with the example of Mark Watney's surrender. So Eckhart Tolle says, if you were stuck in the mud somewhere, you wouldn't say, okay, I resign myself to being stuck in the mud. Resignation is not surrender. You don't need to accept an undesirable or unpleasant life situation. Nor do you need to deceive yourself and say that there's nothing wrong with being stuck in the mud. No, you recognize fully that you want to get out of it. You then narrow your attention down to the present moment without mentally labeling it in any way. This means that there is no judgment of the now. Therefore, there is no resistance, no emotional negativity. You accept the isness of this moment. Then you take action and do all that you can to get out of the mud. Such action I call positive action. It is far more effective than negative action, which arises out of anger, despair, or frustration. Until you achieve the desired result, you continue to practice surrender by refraining from labeling the now.